Hi, everyone. Welcome to Pendulum Friday. Thank you very, very much for being here. We got a lot to get through today, so I'm not going to chitter chatter too long, but I do want to thank all of the healing energy that came my way. I'm so grateful for it. It it helped a lot because a few days ago, man, I wasn't like moving. Just to give you, I've mentioned before, I think probably that um, my body doesn't like season changes, right? It just triggers. So I thought I would give you just kind of an example of what we're dealing with out here right now. So 5 degrees Celsius is 41 degrees Fahrenheit. So the weather's like that for like days and days and weeks because we had an amazing autumn. Then in the last 2, maybe 3 weeks, we keep getting these Arctic like surges. So as an example, today it is minus 22 degrees, which is for you Americans, because pretty much the rest of the world is on Celsius, but for Americans, that is 7.6 degrees below zero. With the wind chill today, it is sitting at minus 33 degrees Celsius. And that translates to 27.4 degrees below zero. I am actually not thinking that even your most northern states would have to deal with that kind of temperature. And the problem has been that it's doing this, right? It gets really, really cold for a whole bunch of days, and then it warms up for 2 days, and then it gets really, really cold. And so my body is just, and then falling on the ice was just the icing on the cake. So I thank every one of you for everything that you sent me. I am so grateful for it. And let's get cracking here, shall we? To any new subscribers, thank you so much. I hope you really, really enjoy the Soulprint community. And we really are just a bunch of really great people in this community. We're supportive and we're loving and we're kind, and that is like amazing and wonderful. And I really am grateful for that. All right, let's get going here. These are the first ones I'm going to do are from last week. Okay. So, will the MOU between Canada's federal government and Alberta result in a northern bitumen pipeline to the British Columbia coast? Okay. An MOU is a memorandum of understanding. So it's the federal government and the Alberta government saying, okay, well, we can agree on this. The problem is the British Columbia is a little annoyed and they're saying, no, you are not going to build that pipeline through BC. So then the question becomes, if so, will technology mitigate and protect the environmental concerns? And so let's find that out, shall we? Here we go. I need my little book. There we go. Thank you, Pendulum. Will there be technology in place to minimize to mitigate and protect the environmental concerns? Yes, there will. Will the political impact be positive or negative? So will it be positive? Yes. Overall, are the pockets that are negative, do they remain small? There you go. Yes. Do you see Pierre Poilievre, who is the leader of the Conservative Party Federal, and Daniel Smith in office in the new year? Okay, let's see. They're both, okay, Polyev is coming up for a leadership review. I think in January or February, his party is incredibly unhappy with him. He's like a one-trick pony. He's a lot like Trump. And so he just pushes and pushes and says the same thing over and over and over again. And it doesn't matter what you tell him that makes what he's saying incorrect. He just over and over and over. It's like he's feeding his base, right? Except his base is diminishing. Okay, so let's ask it this way. Is Polyev going to survive the leadership review? Okay, at this point, no. He's also losing party members. Daniel Smith, I think, I know I was talking previously about recalls, and there is now a recall out for Daniel Smith. So we'll see how that will. Let's just take a quick peek, shall we? Is Daniel Smith going to remain in office till the end of 2026? No. Is it true that Erica Kirk is expecting Vance's baby? No, it is not. Will Trump and his minions be held accountable for ruining lives? Okay, so we've got a small yes here. So what I'm getting is that there will be people that are held responsible, and there are people who will basically get off scot-free. There's a fine line that governments have to walk. Right now, you are witnessing what happens when you have somebody in a high office who is bloodthirsty, right? Who will do everything and anything they can to mess up political opponents. And so, even though, oh crap, what was it? The guy at the head of the Department of Justice under Biden, even though he was too careful and moved too slowly, you still can't have a government that comes in and just like obliterates and charges everybody for every rotten thing they ever did. Because that's also sort of, all that does is create, adversity and anger. I'm not saying people are going to get off scot-free. Some will, and some are going to be punished. I mean, what we're hoping is that some of the people who were really involved in this, like, 45 and what's that guy's name with the, I don't remember. But like the people who are really, really responsible, they're going to face some, but they're also going to be very, very clever about creating scapegoats. Okay. Will his family be held accountable for their entitled criminal actions? Okay, it's a little bit of a stronger yes. I guess we'll see. We'll see how that unfolds. Will Trump ever receive the Nobel Peace Prize? No, not on this planet anyways. Will 45 leave before the end of 2026? I do believe that's been, asked and answered. That's a yes. Which, you know what, is I think part of the reason that the pendulum is sort of saying, well, some people will and some people won't, because there are, it's kind of hard to, punish somebody if they've kind of left the planet. I don't know how 45 can host parties and events in the evening if he is so ill. Well, because his ego knows no boundaries. Do his doctors give him a drug cocktail to help him function? Okay, that's a pretty strong yes. So just this week, there was a lot of talk on social media that the only reason that you would get continual intravenous feedings, well, maybe not the only one, but that would cause such bruising on his hand, and the requirement or the need for the MRI. Apparently, I'm presuming it's a new Alzheimer's treatment plant, and it requires this constant IV uptake and continual MRIs to monitor. So that sort of, to me, makes the most sense of trying to figure out what the heck is going on with this guy. Do you see the Republicans taken out of office in 2025 due to an illegitimate president or Congress? No. I mean, first of all, you've got what, 3 weeks? Do you see Rep. Byron Donalds running for governor of Florida in 2026? Okay, I don't know who Byron Donalds is, but let's find out. Okay, that's a yes. Hey, for those of you who haven't heard, like yesterday or the day before, the city of Miami voted in a female Democrat Republican. Democrat mayor. That was like what I was trying to say. A female Democrat mayor for the city of Miami. That's huge. And I think that is probably really causing certain people to start quivering in their boots. Do you see Vance and his Tech Bros Project 2025 in power in 2028? No, not a chance in hell. Did they gerrymander the Tennessee race? I should have looked that up. Oh, that was, I think, the one with Ashton somebody. Okay, so the Republican guy, Van Epps or something, he won, but he won by, like, I think it was like 7 or 8 points. Trump won that area by 22. So you can see where, even though he won it, it's with a much different energy. Okay, was it gerrymandered? No. Okay, and did the Republicans really win? And that's a yes. Will Jack Smith's report be leaked? Okay, I'm getting a very small yes, but what I'm hearing is not at this time. That may very well be something that surfaces in 2026. Stephen Miller. Good. That's the guy I couldn't remember his name before. Is Stephen Miller signing things of Trump's using the auto pen? That's a yes. Is anyone aware he is illegally doing this? Of course, this is for entertainment purposes only. And, in my opinion. There seems to, it's a milder yes, so yeah, somebody must be. Will AI and crypto fantasies be destroyed along with the hyper-rich tech bros and block their grab for total domination of the planet and its population? Okay. Let me say this. Those fantasies are never going to be destroyed, that the two products, crypto and AI, are going to continue going. But let's ask it this way. Will the ultra rich, particularly tech bros, will they succeed in their endeavors for domination of the planet and its population? And that's a great big no. Okay. Will we have a major stock market crash in 2026? 25% or more. Okay, so unfortunately, based on the energies right now, it looks like there very well could be. If so, will the market rebound quickly? There's no answer. And the reason there's no answer is because it's going to be dependent on politics and politicians and the choices and decisions they make. If 45 kicks the bucket, will that avoid stop a market crash? Okay, it's a really, really little yes, because, once damage is done, damage is done, right? Costco is suing the Trump administration, seeking a refund of tariffs paid so far. Will they win? Well, that's going to be really dependent on what the heck the Supreme Court comes up with in terms of whether the tariffs are even legal. Will they win? Based on energies right now, that's a yes. So let's ask this. Is the Supreme Court going to rule that the tariffs are a tax and that Trump had no business implementing them? That's a yes. I am outraged by the kill order by Hegseth to shoot survivors of blown up boats in the Caribbean. This is a war crime. Yes, indeed. Will he be charged? Okay, I'm not sure what he's going to be charged about. A Democratic representative from Michigan announced he will charge articles of impeachment against Hegseth. Is that going to happen? Yes. Will he be impeached? Yes. And then the next question is, will he resign? Well, it doesn't really matter, because once you're impeached, you're not allowed to be back in office. Maybe he can go, to the green room of some television station somewhere and get back on the news, or get back on whatever the hell it was he was doing at Fox. Okay, the FBI made an arrest in the pipe bombing on the DNC and RNC headquarters January 6, 2021. They arrested Brian Cole, 30, of Woodbridge, VA. Is that Virginia? I don't know. I don't know your 2-letter abbreviations for every single state. Did they get the right person? Okay, that's a yes, but I have to tell you, the other thing I'm hearing is, but he didn't act independently. And I can't, sorry, I don't know who that might be. Sorry, I got distracted because now I'm looking for the questions from today. Hold on here. I got distracted. I'm going to just put this out there. I sent it. It got sent here from Joyce, okay, who's the amazing woman that puts these questions together. She's saying, "Hi, Cyndy. We had a meeting this afternoon with my son's health insurance agent. I was expecting that their insurance premium would be $750 a month without a subsidy. Good, but I do not know how you guys afford this stuff, honestly. Today, we find out that only the COVID-related subsidy went away. And it was set to expire this year, and the Republicans didn't want to renew it. Their premiums are $500 less than I thought they would be. I'm afraid that people might not even apply if they think there is no subsidy. Everybody, journalists, politicians want to keep us upset and afraid, and Joyce is so tired of it, and all of you, I'm sure too. So I'm putting out that there's a public service announcement from Joyce with regards healthcare insurance in the country of the United States. Okay, this week's questions. Will Hakeem Jeffries be elected as House Speaker when the Democrats are House Majority members? Okay, it's a yes, but I'm not exactly convinced that he will. How do I want to say this? It feels like he may very well, uh, because I completely believe that the House is going to flip Democrats sometimes, I think, fairly early in 2026. I think he very well may be in place until the midterms, but I think after the midterms, there very well may be a push for somebody who is a little bit more aggressive and maybe not kind of so laid back. Will Hakeem Jeffries be an effective, knowledgeable, and credible House Speaker? Okay, yes, but again, you can see that the pendulum isn't exactly swinging all over the place, right? So there you go. Has YouTube adopted, it's funny because this is on YouTube, of course, has adopted a censoring policy towards content creators that speak adversely about 45? Okay, yes, but these are YouTube channels that have sort of over a certain number of millions of viewers and subscribers and views. So he's going after the heavy hitters. So speaking of which, earlier today I was, going scrolling, and George Conway has I believe it's a new YouTube channel called Conway something. Advises something. And we all like George Conway because, first of all, he had the smarts to get the hell away from Carol Ann Conway. But he has a way of just keeping things, dumbing it down, keeping it really simple so you can follow what he's talking about. I saw one of his videos today, and I actually subscribed right away, and I don't tend to do that all that fast. But I was impressed with the way he handled. So if you're interested, just type in Conway George, and I'm sure it'll come up into the YouTube, thing where you look stuff up. Will Netanyahu be replaced with a fair and law-abiding leader by July 2026? So he has been the International War Crimes Committee. They have filed whatever they do, charges against him, whatever. I mean, it's not like they're able to, run over there and grab him and throw him in jail. But he did not, despite the fact that 45 was advocating that, this was ridiculous and it didn't need to happen. So, will he be replaced by somebody who is more fair and law-abiding? Yes. And you know what? energetically, this is what you're going to see, right? You're going to see people, particularly people who have lived in countries where they have, that where there's an autocratic regime or a dictatorship. You're going to see, as those people leave, however they get removed, that people have now suffered enough, and it's so global that they're going to be far more willing to bring in somebody who is not in the sort of traditional mold, if you will. Will architects stop applying to build the big, beautiful ballroom according to 45's designs? Okay, that's a no. So let's just ask it this way. Will the architects and the builders actually be successful in creating the blueprints, etc., for this hideous ballroom? Will they be successful? No. Apparently, whatever it is he wants to do is like structurally, and that's one of the other things that's sort of feeding into this sort of what's going on with 45 physically, because he really does seem to be on a rage almost to start having his name over everything. Like he's trying to create sort of a legacy of his name. Let's ask that. Is he going to be successful in that? Yeah, no. I mean, he tried to rename, or he did rename the what is that? The Kennedy Center, the Trump whatever. Will that get reversed? Oh yeah, in a New York hot minute, it sure as hell will. Will the Georgia RICO case, the racketeering case against 45 and 19 co-conspirators for trying to overturn the 2020 election, be revisited to try 45 and his minions after he leaves office? Oh, okay, so I'm getting a yes, but I feel like it's going to be contingent on if there are statutes of limitation that may impact, how they go after it, or what they go after, or who. Will SCOTUS be restructured after the next presidential election? That's a really strong yes, as long as the Democrats have enough numbers, enough people to push it through beyond Republicans' block. Okay. Today, Thursday, a federal judge ordered the release of Kilmar Umbrego Garcia, and I'm sorry if I messed that up, from ICE custody immediately. Recently, the Trump administration has been trying to find a country to deport him to. Will the DOJ release him? Okay, it's getting a really, really small yes. So I don't think they're going to just jump, but I think at some point they may be almost backed into a corner and forced to. Will they leave him alone? The answer is no, as long as 45 is in office. Because now he's become their immigration I'm trying to think of the word. Sorry, the one he's holding up. They're holding up and saying, he's so bad. He's whatever. They can't deviate from this stupid stuff they put out, because then they just look incredibly stupid. Yeah, it's almost as if they want him to be the poster child of just how strong and efficient and ruthless the DOJ can be. It's ridiculous. Okay, will Chief Justice Roberts be found in the Epstein clients' records and transcripts from the Maxwell trial transcripts being released? This is for entertainment purposes only. It's not answering. Um, what they're saying is they're not going down that road right now. It would attract attention to my little tiny fledgling YouTube channel, and they're not going to go one way or the other on that. I'm sorry. We'll try again. I don't know, in a few weeks, months, and see if we can get more clarity. Are Democrats behind the scenes consulting with psychiatrists to determine the best actions to take against 45? Yes, I'm going to ask that question again in a slightly different way. Are Democrats also consulting medical doctors to determine best what may or may not be going on with 45? That's also a yes. Is Trump and ICE going to be around in 2026? Okay, that's like kind of too broad. ICE is going to, well, let's ask this because I think that's the more relevant kind of question. Is ICE going to be restructured so that their illegal and barbaric behavior will be stopped? And is that going to happen in the coming year of 2026? Is there going to be the beginnings of restructuring? Yes. I don't know if any of you have seen the video, but that Christy Nome was in, one of those committees, the House committees where they ask questions and you're supposed to like give them intelligent answers. The questions they were such clean and straightforward questions. She got so frazzled that first she was just talking over the next person who was asking questions. And then she literally said, I'm sorry, I have something else to do and I have to leave now. Apparently, though, she got really heckled on her way out. Is Trump going to the hospital in 2026? Okay, that's like too broad. I'm getting a yes, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to the hospital for anything earth shattering, right? I mean, maybe he sprains his ankle. I don't know. Is 45 being threatened by Russia and oligarchs? Yes. Is it true that 45 wants our military to assist Russia? So yes. Will he do this? I'm going to rephrase that. Will that happen? No. And in fact, it will be Republicans that stop it, or join with Democrats to put up roadblocks there. I'm wondering if the banking system is going to collapse. Again, kind of broad. Is the banking system as we know it in danger of continuing the way it is? Okay, that's a little yes, but really not surprising. Is the banking system going to be restructured in a way that minimizes illegal activity and corruption. And that's a yes. I heard on the news today in America that more people are crossing the border into Canada to do their Christmas shopping. Is this true? Well, it kind of makes sense, right? I mean, our dollar, like you can get more for your United States dollar in Canada, like when you do the exchange. Don't come over here thinking that we're all going to accept American money, because generally speaking, we don't. But when you exchange it, so you've got $100 of US money and you're exchanging it for Canadian, you're probably going to come out somewhere around $115, $20, right? So it's cheaper for you to actually do that. I don't live by a border, so I can't tell you. But let's ask the question: is it true that Americans are crossing the border, coming north? Yes, it is. Wow, look at that. Okay. Melania was approved for an Epstein visa. It appears she used her success in modeling on the application. God save us all. Did Trump provide a testimonial for her application, which was a deciding factor in her getting the visa? Yeah, it was part of it. Because he still had, although we understand from most New Yorkers that he was despised, but he still had a fair bit of clout. And I think that it was one of those things where it was like, it's just easier to rubber stamp it and say, yes, she's approved. Will the impeachments served against RFK Jr. and Hegseth be successful in getting them removed or fired? That's a pretty strong yes. Rumor has it that Kristi Noem is not long for her job, well, certainly after that committee meeting today. Is this true? Yeah. They're telling me don't be surprised if she doesn't end up getting impeached, actually. Will her replacement be worse than she is? Okay, that's a no. I wouldn't start dancing in the streets. It's not a very enthusiastic no, but it is a no. Okay. Thank you for all 37 minutes. Oh my God. Thank you so much for putting up with me all the way through this. I hope your questions, etc., got answered very, very quickly. I was reading a novel this week, and I came across a statement, and it said in the novel that it was a very, very old Irish statement or saying. But I read it and I was like, oh my God, I need to share this with all the light workers out there. So here goes. In the light is where the brave live. In the light is where the brave live. That's all of you guys. Thank you very, very much for being here. I again encourage you to do whatever you're going to do and are able to do to enjoy this time of year, whether you celebrate or whatever you celebrate. Keep your energy light-filled and trust that things change. Sometimes they change slowly, but they do change for the better. Again, thank you so very much for being here. Thank you for all of your support. I'm incredibly grateful. And I will look forward to seeing you, God hoping, next week. Take care now. Bye-bye.